You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options. Facebook.com/TheOptionsInsider or via questions at TheOptionsInsider.com.
So Rachel's going to just catch us up on the world of, well, both women, young women. She's not even of drinking age, so she can't even have fun hereafter. And my daughter at U of A had a stock class, and she is very into it, my daughter. So I think people, and we heard from Christy at Tasty Trade, I think people just underestimate this movement of controlling both saving and then investing their dollars. And Rachel's been living this life because she had money at a young age, or at least money set aside for her. And she can go through some of the things that millennials are excited about, scared about, apps that they use. So welcome, Rachel Fox.
Thanks, guys.
Jeff, are you going to come up too?
Jeff is going to help
Rachel
facilitate.
asked that I join her.
Oh, so you guys take it away.
Yeah.
I'm here to protect Rachel from Howard and also to offer my own insights on the young teenage woman mind.
All right, take it away. Take it away, and then we're going to drink.
No, but
Rachel, you cannot.
You did a very interesting presentation on it earlier, talking about including millennials into your perspective in this.
Because the idea is that, are you guys going to spend money? Because kind of the press paints you as a bunch of shut-ins, can't you?
We're
How are we doing? How's the mic? Everybody good?
Yeah, I'm good. You asked, are we going to
So what kind of space alien weirdos are you guys? Because it's basically
It's unlike anything you've ever
seen.
seen, and the world is going to completely change.
Oh, it is.
I mean, yeah, every generation is a little bit different, but we kind of go through the same motions. It feels like this 20-year-old I don't want to own anything. It is a phase, and the way that millennials are often painted in the media is that, that's a thing that we're going to carry with us for forever, which I don't think that is true. I mean, I definitely want to own assets. That is how you grow and amass wealth, and I think that as millennials grow older and they understand, those kinds of concepts and the importance of growing your wealth for your future, for your family's future, they'll start to consider those things like every other generation did, and it'll kind of follow the same pattern, but with a lot more technology and tools available.
You got better toys.
Yeah.
You're us
we have
with
the
toys.
Internet.
That's my
we
working
grew up with
theory.
The internet.
Yeah, which is immediate gratification. But talk to me about what's your relationship with money? I mean, you guys came of age just in time to see everybody lose all the value in their house, just in time to kind of pull the rug out, and this 30-year idea that we've been developing in America, that the dream is to own your own home, kind of got a little bit flushed in some of the stocks with it. Is there still a lingering sense of cynicism towards markets with the millennials?
I don't even think millennials have been exposed to markets enough to really develop an opinion. I mean, most people that I ask, would you invest in stocks? Are you scared to invest? Or, how do you feel about it? They're just like, I don't know enough about it to offer an opinion. It sounds like a good, responsible thing. And I'm sure that they know that not all stocks are, that there are definitely stocks that would make good investments, and that investing is something that's worked for years, and it's a great way to, save and then amass wealth. So I just think that right now it's not really a matter of, they're suspicious or they don't want to own stuff. It's just, there's nothing out, there's no show, there's no, it's not in our Facebook feeds, it's not in our Twitter feeds by nature. We're really just not exposed to it at all, and there's no one that makes content to expose millennials really to it. So, they just don't know. They're not really going to go seek it out because they're not even going to know what to start with.
See, now apathy is actually worse, though, if you're going to market it from a finance perspective, because if people are afraid of stocks, 15 years ago, people your age were day trading all the time. There was this guy, Stewie. Anyone remember Stewie, or am I 5,000 years old? Let's light this candle. The guy who was doing the day trading from home thing. That was very much being sold to people as a responsible way to invest. No one's day trading anymore because it turns out they all lost money. Is there content that's available? Finance kind of by its nature should be a little bit dry and take a lot of time. I mean, is there an egress that makes sense for millennials?
I mean, I don't think that it should be dry. I think that it should. I think that it's good to approach it from the perspective that it should take a lot of time, and that day trading and spending all your time doing that, and like ever thinking that getting rich quick overnight is a goal or a thing to go towards. It's just not. I don't think that that's good. It doesn't make sense. But I think that you can engage young people on a daily basis about what's going on in the world and the economy, and with favorite companies, because most of the companies that are the most valuable today are companies that we happen to use. They have incredible brand value, and
right.
Facebook, Apple, whatever. Those companies are interesting to people my age. So you can kind of talk about those, and that is frequent engagement. They don't have to be buying and selling Apple every time that you put content out. It doesn't always have to be a buy or sell. It can just kind of talk about the stories, what's going on, keep people engaged. And I think that investing long term is the way to think about it.
Can you avoid it? Rachel and I are friends, and I look out for her because I've been in finance, and it's horrifying. But it's what I worry about with you and any young person that goes into finance is the headline that clicks is all of a sudden you're a whiz kid. And all of a sudden they're marketing you as this thing that can't really exist in nature, and it's terrible. And I cautioned you about this the day we met, and again, because I'm terrified that they put you in that box because there's no getting out. I mean, how do you, if that's the story that clicks in an SEO-driven world, you have a very responsible message. The reason we're friends is you're actually thinking about this and putting it together, and that's interesting to me, but that doesn't fit into a silo of financial reporting typically.
Right. No, it doesn't. But I think that there's a place for that in millennial media, the media that I consume and that a lot of my friends consume. It's not clickbait. We often resist, or I personally just, if I see like that clickbait,
because you're smart enough to know better, but the problem is
and I think that there are a lot of young people who are, and I think that the BS meter for a lot of millennials is really high and really good, and responsibility is very much valued in, I'd say, a decent amount of millennials, enough to where some kind of media content that talks about investing long term in an intelligent way could work. It doesn't have to be clickbait, that sort of thing, to get people engaged and interested.
So what would replace sort of the appeal of that? It's the appeal of the whiz kid is the same as the appeal of just imagine on the lotto type of thing. It's an easy pitch, but how would people in this room and just in general engage millennials in financial talk, sort of without it becoming vegetables, without it becoming sort of the thing you have to eat to get to the fun part?
I mean, finance and it used to be where people my age, maybe 10 or 20 years ago, would talk about companies, and it would always be like, oh, it's my dad's company or my dad's friend's company. And now it's like, oh, I'm 20 and I have a 25-year-old friend who has a startup and it's doing really well. I think that the same thing will kind of happen with investing, where a lot of it is just seeing the intangible brand value that a company has and being able to value that. I think that that's where traditional fundamental asset-based analysis valuation, I don't think is necessarily A, the most engaging, or B, not even the most accurate anymore. I think that is changing.
Into what?
into higher value being placed on companies with brands that have incredible intangible value.
Spitball with me. Talk to me. Like, what do you love? You like Starbucks. You like a lot of these companies.
Twitter,
that I'm on as well.
I like. I don't think it's a staple in pop culture. I don't think that it's just not going to go away. Whether it gets bought, whether it figures itself out, I don't know. But it is something that I use, and actually, it's been amongst my friend groups. People are using it more and more. It's just something that I'm noticing. So, I mean, that's one.
But you guys use Facebook, you use Snapchat, you use things that,
Yes.
it's baffled me. I'll be honest, Snapchat is the creepiest place on earth for 40-something-year-old guys to hang out. So I don't use a lot. There's this tech that we don't get. But what are the elements, if you could boil it down to just a couple features, that would make something sticky to a millennial instead of just being Pokemon Go?
I don't think, because they're intangible, we can't even see them, so it's hard to therefore categorize and say the next company that makes something with this element is going to be successful, because it's kind of always changing. It's just a company that is connected with technology. It's about openness. It's about connecting people with other people. It wants to create, sustainable energy. Those types of enlightening concepts are what are sticky with this generation. That's one example.
And so narrative, basically just not making your hyper attenuated BS flash off and
yes, exactly.
Actually living it. The gestalt, the smell of a Starbucks, the beans come from, handcrafted people, like the reality of it.
Yeah, and the story, following, that company's story, not just like a flash in the pan type of, they did the Pokemon Go, not just like all of a sudden a billion people are on it using it.
Right.
Something that's, that sustains the company.
And is it a core element of finance? Because when Pokemon Go came out, Nintendo tripled.
Yes.
And it drowns out it's you can talk to people about Starbucks till you're blue in the face, but then they'll ask you, are you long that Nintendo? My wife asked me if I'm long Nintendo. And it's like, no, because no one plays Donkey Kong anymore, sweetheart. That's not going to happen.
I mean, I talked to a lot of my friends who didn't really know anything about the stock market, who didn't know much about Nintendo, and I asked them, I explained the situation very basically, and I said, what would you do with Nintendo? And a lot of them were like, well, I think I would short that, because that sounds like a flash in the pan, and if Pokemon Go is the only thing boosting it up and that leaves, the stock price is going to fall.
Yeah.
It's just, it's common sense, I guess.
Do you think we just end up in a world of ETF-dom? I mean, is the index that appealing to people, that kind of banality?
I mean, there are a lot of people who just are not interested, and I don't think you can ever get them interested. They don't really care about what companies do. They don't they maybe want to just be, a painter or something, and they don't want to think about any of it. Then that's fine, and then they maybe should just index and live happily, sleep at night, no crazy bets. But I think that a lot of people are interested in putting their money where their mouth is, and if they fundamentally support a company, if they buy their products, if they use their products, they love their products, then that's where they'll want to invest.
Where do the smartest kids what do they want to be when they grow up?
A lot of them want to be CEOs, and a few are really into quantum computing, which I know very little about, but it's going to be kind of like the next form of computing, and it's very, very powerful. It's way more powerful than anything that we've seen. It's going to be 30 years in the future, but.
So I don't understand quantum computing. I'd like to be a CEO, but so does everybody. Of what? Is there an industry in particular? I grew up in the 80s. Everyone thought Wall Street looked pretty cool because we completely missed the point of the movie of it being a cautionary parable and thought that Bud Fox just, hey, look at him, he's doing okay. Later it became VCs. I get the sense now that everyone wants to start something up. Is that still the idea? What are they going to be CEO of? Surely not 3M. Surely. I
mean, there's no. I haven't really seen a pattern enough. I've just seen that people want to. There's a big draw to disrupting an industry, or if they see something and they think this is, a system that is pretty inconvenient, I want to figure out how to make it more convenient. Then they jump on it. If they see a problem and they can think of a clever, catchy solution, that's what they want to do. And there's no specific, one industry. I don't think. Well, I guess it all very much involves technology and the leveraging of technology. But
and just the marriage of it, just the seamless type. I mean, how important are brands to you? What is the magic of Amazon? What's that hold in your mind? It's to most of the people in this room, it's like something I probably should have bought and held a lot longer, and then you admire it. But there's not I respect it and love it for the way they deliver, but I don't know what the emotional attachment for for a millennial would be? Is it just kind
well,
of
it's
like
just that I don't have to, it's that I can go to my place of work, or I can go, hang out with friends, and I don't have to think about, picking up this from the store or that from the store. I just go home and I'm like, I'm out of this, and I push the button, and then it arrives the next day.
How strong is the attachment to a brand like Apple, kind of yesterday's story? Is that strong enough that would buck it, or could someone like Amazon steal share just by executing better?
Sure. I think that anyone could steal share of anything by executing better. It's just what is most convenient, what's easiest to use, and what provides me the most value in my day-to-day life. What makes things more convenient. Not to say that there's not brand loyalty there, but it just doesn't really make sense to be loyal to someone who isn't keeping up or who isn't innovating as fast as someone else. I mean,
can you think of any retailers that if it's an Ulta, a Lulu, an Under Armour, that people my age think are kind of hitting it off, just crushing, and the kids are wised up and not buying into it? Anything that's overhyped, or anything that it's just so horrible to you guys that it's tainted?
Well, I guess that this is not really like a product. It's just, to me, like the whole commodity of oil, I think, is kind of that way, because my generation is very aware of climate change, and anyone who kind of goes against the science of that, a lot of people just feel like it's like, how can you go against what is discovered in science? So yeah, the use of that and the idea that that'll be around for the next 100 years, I don't necessarily think that's true. And I think that a lot of young people are looking at sustainable energy and are very interested in owning an electric vehicle. And
how fragile is a brand, be it like I guess like a Wells Fargo or Chipotle, companies that have built up a reputation over a number of years as representing sort of stability or organic flavors, or Whole Foods poisoning people? I mean, does that leave a mark forever, or do you guys just kind of take it as it comes?
It definitely leaves a mark. If there's something like the Wells Fargo, like that level of fraud, then it absolutely leaves a mark. I was with Wells Fargo, and I'm in the process of leaving after I found out about what happened, and a lot of people feel that way. So the value of a brand is extremely evasive, I guess. If you do something, if you're not keeping up, if you're not as convenient, if you screw people over, it's done. That's it.
And
not a lot of forgiveness.
What is the trigger for something? Yeah, good. Oh yeah, sure. The if you had to invest in one thing right now that old guys like me will be talking about a year from now.
I don't think that you may not be talking about it a year from now.
I'm pretty hip. I could be talking about 6 months. I mean,
sure. You could be talking about it a year from now. I think that probably most people might be talking about it 5 or 10 years from now, but that's Tesla. Piggybacking off of what I said as far as the whole clean energy, making electric vehicles a really cool, sexy brand.
Cool. And if they can actually make them. See, that would be the hurdle, Howard. If they can.
They did it. They met the 25,000.
Amazon and Tesla.
Finally go have some good things.
Sure thing, Howard. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
The preceding program was a production of the Options Insider Radio Network. For more quality options programs, visit www.theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app, available in iTunes and on Google Play. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, facebook.com/The Options Insider, or via questions@theoptionsinsider.com.